Podcast Network Asia.
So 3 points to everyone listening. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That's and should be Pakinggan natin ang kwento ni Mariz. May problema siyang hindi niya maamin sa kanyang parents. This is the 4th episode of the Major Podcast with Venus Ra. At dahil wala pa rin ho tayong iPad, back to papers ho tayo. At nagbabalik na rin si Jet. Jet? Can we have the paper please? Nung last episode, iba ho yung kasama natin. At sa episode na to, nagbabalik ho si Jet. Ang papel boy. Thank you! Sige, basahin natin ang kwento ni Mariz. Hey Ate V, itago mo na lang ako sa pangalang Mariz. I'm writing this letter to seek your advice. But I don't want other people to know my identity. Shy kasi ako in real life, hindi lang halata. When I heard about your podcast, I checked it out immediately. First episode pa lang, I found comfort in your words. Para akong nakikinig sa radyo late at night. Pero on demand, social. I came from a not so well-off family. But our parents always do their best to support us and provide for our needs. I'm the eldest at minsan, aaminin ko, nakaka-pressure. April last year, my dad gave me a seed capital for my business from the very last money he had. Sa simula, the business was doing well, but eventually, it has become draining. It is draining my mental health and even my savings. Pero hindi ko masabi sa parents ko ang totoo. Binigyan kasi nila ako ng chance to have a better life, but it feels like I failed them and things are spiraling out of control. What should I do? Where do I start? Hope you can help me, Ate V. Sincerely, Mariz. Mariz. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast, and thank you for trusting us with your story. Alam namin na hindi ito madali na proseso para sa'yo at hindi rin madali para sa'yo na sabihin yung pinagdadaanan mo sa amin. But Mariz, I want to start by sharing this thought. First, know that when our parents help us, more than out of obligation, it is out of love. Parang dun sa kwento mo na sinabi mo na, nagsikap ang tatay mo at meron siyang last money, binigay niya sa'yo. More than out of obligation, for sure he is coming out of love. And that love is unconditional. Totoo yun. You're blessed to have supportive parents and parents who look after your welfare. Lalo yung tatay mo na sabi mo nagtatrabaho, nagsisikap at binigyan ka ng seed money para sa business mo. Kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung pagmamahal ng isang magulang, alam mo, Mariz, that love covers even our weaknesses and even our failures. Kasi kilala ka ng tatay mo eh. Alam ng tatay mo kung ano yung strengths mo. Alam din ng tatay mo kung ano yung possible weaknesses mo. This might not be true to every family, pero you seem to have a loving parents. And the fact that they do their best to provide for your needs, kahit hindi marangya, sabi mo nga, kahit hindi marangya yung buhay ninyo, that's love right there. So maybe the question that we can ask ourselves right now, Mariz, is how do we respond to that love? How do we respond to that love? You respond with honesty. You respond with honesty. Being truthful to your parents is also a way to honor them. And baka ngayon sabihin mo, Mariz, ano ba naman to si Ate V? Pinipreachan ako. Pero, I can't help it because in the Bible it says, part of the 10 Commandments is to honor our parents. Ang sabi doon, honor your father and your mother, for it will be well with you and that you will have long life in this world. And you know what, Mariz? This is the very first commandment with a promise attached to it. It promises prosperity and long life. So, how do you tell your parents? I think yun yung tanong mo no? Sa isip mo, anong gagawin ko, Ate V? Anong gagawin ko? It might be easy for me to say, oh sige, you become honest. And for sure, that's the right thing to do. But how do you do it? Mariz, you really have to prepare for that, you know? And for sure, you have a good relationship with your father. Malamang meron din kayong mga moments na nag-uusap kayo. So you prepare for that. And as a grown-up woman, you don't just present a problem. Hindi mo lang sasabihin na, Dad, na ubos na yung pera or ganito na yung nangyayari sa akin ngayon. But you present the problem and you also think of a possible solution. Anong naisip mo na posibleng solusyon dun sa situation mo? If you can tell your dad, here's my situation, Dad, but also humbly acknowledge your failure and your limitations. And tell him what you intend to do. Give him a plan, kumbaga. And for sure, your dad also has a wisdom na maaaring hindi mo naisip, pero because you have presented your plan to him, baka meron siyang additional inputs to that. So, come to him and ask for wisdom. Take time to sit down and think about your status and the status of your business. Try to examine your business strategy. And you know what? You can also enrich yourself, Mariz, even your knowledge when it comes to your business. You can read books, you can sign up for training para mas maging mahusay ka pang negosyante, and you can learn from other people's success. One thing's for sure, Mariz, eto tatandaan mo, this is not a dead end for you. Okay? This is not a dead end for you. Ganun talaga yung buhay negosyo, no? Merong ups and downs, may paghihirap, may success. Pero with those experiences, you become a better person, you become a better individual, at mas marami ka pang matututunan para sa negosyo mo. And you mentioned that you are also mentally drained. Alam mo, marami ka rin pwedeng gawin, Mariz. You can talk to a friend, you can take a pause, you can pursue other hobbies, other recreational activities. Pwede ka rin mag-exercise, you can read books if you like. You can treat yourself to a good meal. Mamasyal ka, kung nanonood ka ng K-drama, manood ka ng K-drama. And that's also self-care. Alam mo yun, baka masyado na ring nauubos yung oras mo sa pag-iisip kung ano yung gagawin mo dun sa problema to a point na yung sarili mo hindi mo na rin naaalagaan. So take time to breathe, take time to appreciate the environment that's around you, nature, you go out, that can also help. And talk to some friends na pwedeng makatulong sa'yo. Pero tandaan mo, okay lang magpahinga. Okay lang magpahinga, Mariz. So that you can bounce back better pagka naging okay na yung situation mo. But once again, thank you so much for sending your letter. And ako mismo, may natutunan ako sa'yo. And hopefully, our listeners who are also going through something like this also learn something from your situation. Thank you for trusting us. And to everyone listening to this podcast, here are some takeaways from the story of Mariz. Siguro 3 points lang ang gusto kong i-share. First is this: there is freedom in honesty. Anything that is in the dark, when you take it into the light, you will really experience liberty. Kung meron kang burden sa shoulders mo ngayon, when you put it into the light, eventually you will realize na buti na lang pala shinare ko to, buti na lang pala nilabas ko to kasi mas gumaan yung pakiramdam ko. Second is, and I've already mentioned this kanina, always honor your parents. Always honor your parents. That's the key to blessings. When you honor your parents, you're not only making your parents happy, or you're not only blessing your parents, but you're also obeying God's command to you. And should you become a parent in the future, for sure you will also appreciate your children when they honor you. And lastly, don't let failures define you. Learn from them and use them as your vehicle for success. Kasi hindi talaga nating maiiwasan yung failures sa buhay natin. But do not let those failures define you. I hope that this episode is helpful to you, and I hope that you have learned something from Mariz and her story as well. And before we go, of course, we want to say hi to people. I was in CCF East last week. I spoke to a group of women. Napakarami ho nila doon. Almost 600 women. Once again, hello to all the women from CCF East. Part ho niya ng Antipolo at marami pang iba. So maraming salamat ho for having me last week to speak to the women. And dahil celebration din ho natin ng Women's Month itong nakaraang buwan, sa lahat ho ng mga kababaihang nakikinig sa atin, saludo ho ako sa inyo. And also, one of our crew here at the studio would like to say hi to his friends from CCF as well. Kilala ko tong mga to. Guys, pakinggan nyo ito yung mga pangalan ninyo. Louie, Jed, Mappy, Mark, Rene, Budoy, Nicoy, Gio, and Marion. Hello to you guys. Pag hindi nyo shinare to, binanggit ko na yung mga pangalan ninyo. Also saying hi to our one of our YouTube viewers, Ron of Hugot Radio. You know, Ron, maraming salamat. He is also from Bicol and he is also a podcaster. I'm so proud of you. And Ron, thank you for sharing your thoughts as well sa aming last episode. And also to our subscribers sa aming YouTube channel, maraming salamat ho. And to those of you who have not subscribed yet, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel where you could also watch the video version of this podcast. And also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And don't forget to share this episode to your friends. Once again, this is your Ate V, always here to listen and to think things through with you. Till the next episode of the Major Podcast with Venus Ra.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.